Hello guys, how are you today? My goodness, I just realized the date as I was getting set up to go live here, and it was the year, a whole year is almost over. How are you guys feeling about that? I mean, how is that working out for you? I'm finding that it's like the year went by so fast. Where did it go? What happened? Oh my goodness, it's gone. Weren't we doing New Year's Eve just about, I don't know, like 7 or 8 weeks ago? And then on the other hand, it's gone on for a decade. And I'm not entirely sure how my brain and my feelings are processing both of those at the same time. And yet, there it is. 2 days left in the year. Friday night is New Year's Eve, and then we're going on to 2020. I have to admit, I never thought that, back in the olden days when 30 seemed old. Does anybody remember that? I never felt that way, but I remember joking about it because it was a thing that, oh man, anybody over 30 was ancient. I never actually felt that. Even as a child, I didn't get that. It didn't seem like all that old to me, but it was what you joked about. It was supposed to be the thing, and you couldn't trust anybody over 30. Oh my goodness. And I thought, I remember, what was it called? 1984. It was a book I had read, quite young. I honestly don't remember much about it except for the name. Mostly I remember the name because they came out with a movie called 1984. Right around the year I read the book, actually. It must have been, I don't know, maybe I read the book because I heard the movie was coming out. I don't remember, but they're connected in my head at the same time. Although I think the book in 1984 had been out for quite some time when I read it. But at any rate, it was, I don't know, about something was going on at high school, and a bunch of, really bad kids invaded or something. It was sort of a semi-horror something or another. I vaguely remember the detail. I don't remember the details. The whole thing is very vague in my head, but it was, I remember wondering, or feeling like 1984 was, going to be such a different time in the world, because I would, I'd be older then, and it was just going to be, that was like, it was going to be so different, and I wondered what life was going to be like in 1984. And then you see, movies like 2001: A Space Odyssey, and it's 2001, and then we've passed that too. And then just year after year, remember when the world was going to end and the millennium change, and because all the computers were going to mess up and everything was going to fall apart because we were so dependent on computers. Now, I have to admit, it could have been a lot worse that year than it was. It turned out to be, there were issues. There were trains that got lost. There were shipments that disappeared. There were files that, just voided out into nothingness, and things did go wrong. But because there had been so much hype, I remember that entire year, 2 years before the millennium change, I had endless contracts to do the things required to change the programming on computers. That's all I did. I did that for ages and ages and ages. So I assume if I was doing that in a little backwater nowhere city in the northern nowhere, that it probably was happening a lot more in other places. But so at the time when it should have been the big disaster, quite frankly, most of it had been fixed already. But it made for good news. And it was a fun party that night. I threw a big party that night in my home. And the just because we were all waiting to see, if television was going to go offline and power was going to go out. It was like we're going to have the world's ending millennium party. It seemed like a thing to do at the time. The food was really good, though. Man, I cooked my heart out for days. It was fun. It was just sort of a big joke. We had a good time. But I don't know, all these points go by in life where you just feel, when you turn 30, who will you be? And And then 40 feels like it's an entire lifetime away again, but it's not. And here we are in 1922 in a few minutes. Oh my goodness. Or not 1922, in 2022. It's like, oh my gosh. Because there was 2001 and then there was 2021 movies. And now we're going into 2022. It's I never actually believed I'd be alive this long. There was a time when 30 felt like that was going to be so far away. And here we are. 30 years old would be ancient history. Oh my goodness. I made it a little longer than that, I'm pleased to say. But man, this last couple of years have been so strange. They have taken so long, and they have gone by so fast. It's terrifying. It just, where did 2 years? 2 years of my life just disappeared into a puddle of mud somewhere. And you just took a step over and there it was gone. It's like, oh my goodness, there it was gone. I don't know. I feel like this year I need to do something on New Year's Eve. To mark a passage or pay more attention moving forward. I was thinking about doing it, New Year's resolutions. Yeah, that's always fun because it's just like, okay, so what kind of promise to myself am I going to break this week? Because it's not going to last past the week. Forget it. It's over. But just the idea, I thought about, picking out points along the year that I would pay attention to. Maybe making a list of my own holidays, days that might be important to me or that might be fun to me or just something I want to pay attention to. And maybe printing out an entire list of things and just tacking it on the wall here in front of me. So I always have something that I'm planning ahead for. This is something I want to cook a special meal for, or this day I am going to take a hike no matter what, or this particular event in history I am going to commemorate by doing something, just so the year doesn't dissolve in a blur anymore. I want to be aware. I think that's it. I want to be aware. I want to be paying attention to every month that goes by and having something in it that's worth remembering, something in it that is important enough to work toward, to do something special for. I mean, we do it for the big stuff, Some people celebrate Easter in big and wonderful ways with ham meals and hunts, or special masses at their church, or fertility rituals, or whatever. There's a lot of different ways of handling various points in the year, and there's a few big ones that a lot of people participate in one fashion or another. But I don't know, is that enough? I don't feel like that's enough, because they get lost to me. They get lost in the expectations of what we've always done, or commercialism, or one must do because, and maybe those must do things don't actually mean anything to me personally. Maybe we're just doing them because that's what we do. And I think, I'm thinking I'm going to make a list of things, and it's like, I am going to choose to celebrate this because it would be a fun moment in the year. And it does something to me. What was the first, the anniversary of the thing I did, blah, blah, blah. Or, the Kentucky Derby Day. I mean, some things matter, guys. Okay. Celebrating Mardi Gras at home. I'm not likely to travel to New Orleans in the coming future, or in the near future, to celebrate Mardi Gras again. And I certainly wasn't celebrating Mardi Gras in any way that, was historically or religiously accurate. I was just in New Orleans partying with 1.5 million other people. But I don't know. I've been thinking about that. Like the year has gone too fast, and somehow still in a blur of. It took too long because there was too few things to do because of COVID and personal issues and finances and all the things that have been the continuing stressors in the last couple of years. But it was too slow because there weren't those things to do, but it was too bloody fast too, guys. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be aware. I want to live my life with more awareness. And I don't know if I would call that a New Year's resolution or just make a list of reasons to party. Doesn't that sound like more fun? No, seriously. I mean, a New Year's resolution feels like, oh, that's going to hurt. That sounds like work. It sounds like something I don't want to do, right? A New Year's resolution, I'm going to eat less cookies, or I'm going to exercise in this particular way that I really don't like more because I think it's good for me. It's like, no, New Year's resolutions, we know that's going nowhere. I just want to be more aware. So maybe I'm going to make a list of, I think I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to do that. Well, I'll share that with you over the coming days when I figure out what that's going to mean. But I think, yeah, reasons to celebrate. That's what it's going to be. My list of reasons to celebrate. And I think I'm actually going to print that out, put it on the wall here in front of me, and then say that day coming up in 2 weeks needs to be marked in a way. It's going to be a meal, a special menu that, will make that feel more special in some way, but it will be noticed. It will be noticed, and there will be, calories spent in doing something about it. There will be, action taken to break that one day out of the tedium of all the other days around it. And I think I want to do that. I've been thinking about this for a while, okay? This has been in the back of my head for a bit, and I think it's time to get that done. I really, really do. Okay, we're going to go in here and do some things. Do all the little things. At some point, I'm going to have to spend some time cleaning up the mess on this farm too. I've still got the big staff area to get done, and I'll be honest, I've been putting that one off because I'm feeling a little intimidated by that one. I kind of have a vision in my head, but I'm not really sure how it's going to translate into this game. And I'm afraid it's going to be one of those times where I'm just ripping it apart and doing it over so many times. You want to talk about the tedium all around it, right? Kind of feels like that's coming, but because visions and the reality are not always the same thing, and you have to find that place between the two of them where life is okay. And I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with that yet. I haven't even finished this garden for this house yet. I haven't even furnished this house yet. Oh my goodness, we got a ways to go yet. And all the canals that still need lining, and there's landscaping in a few places that I haven't sorted out, and I'm still thinking about changing. Well, I'm not thinking about it. I'm going to be taking out like half of some of these other flowers and putting in the big 3, so I can make more money for the stations as we're moving forward. And sometimes this farm feels like it's almost done, and then it's like, oh my goodness, my to-do list is endless. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to let you guys go while I putter around in this place again and get a few more things done. And yeah, so here's to the last. We're in the countdown of the year. The year is nearly over, guys. And I'm not going to do a resolution. I am just going to try. I'm going to make a serious and honest attempt to pick out things that are important to me. I want to be more aware. And I think that's probably not a bad thing. I've got a feeling I'm going to like it. Yeah, I'm actually quite excited. This is a New Year's resolution, and I don't even want to call it that. This is a thing that makes me feel like something I'm looking forward to and not a chore that I must get done. So, reasons to celebrate. What are yours? Take care, guys. I hope you're doing really well and you're having a good time. Thank you for the likes and the views and the follows and your comments. And I hope you're recovering from the holidays past and looking forward to the ones coming. Bye-bye, guys.